Hey, good morning from Colorado Springs. Good morning. Colorado Springs in Colorado. Why is that so hard to say? I hope each and every one of you are having a fantastic morning. Welcome to Tuesday Traders. If you've been watching the market and can't make heads or tails of it, you're not sure whether it's going up or going down, you are in the right place. Let's take a look today at some of the factors and some of the things that I believe are going to be important over the rest of this year and into 2026. So good morning, Dave P. Good morning to everybody that is watching. Let me get my screen share going on here. A little bit different situation here when we are on the laptop. I got to get things situated here. Don't have my dual screen. So what do we got going on here, folks? I hope you are all having a great day. Crypto market doesn't seem like it can decide what it wants to do. Bitcoin back over 90. I'll jump over that real quick. Real fast before we do, this is not financial advice, but this token that you see here, if you can see it, is called Patriot. And this is a token that I talked about a handful of months ago. I've got a very good close friend that literally ended up being one of the top holders of this token, invested somewhere around $75,000 into the Patriot token. And long story short, he gave me a call. He messaged me a couple of days ago and said, hey, there's some big news coming with Patriot, and do with that what you will. And so I jumped in and bought a little bit, not a ton. I don't know when I hit this if you'll be able to see. No, I'm not sharing my whole screen, so you can't see my MetaMask wallet pop up. But I threw about $500 into the Patriot token a couple of days ago, just in case he was right. It's up about 11%. So my 500 has turned into $565. So that is, a nice little win. But this token here, if you take a closer look at it, we can see that its all-time high price was 0.008. It looks like, man, my eyes are rough this morning. 0.008. So it's down 94% from its all-time high. I'll let you guys do your own due diligence. But there is a massive statue that was made that supposedly President is going to be part of the unveiling of this statue. It hasn't been unveiled yet, but everybody believes that when this statue is unveiled, that it's going to pump the price. It is a little bit of a meme coin. It's definitely a risky play, but my buddy that's heavily invested in it has never really steered me wrong yet. So he's been bugging me about this token for a long time, and I decided to go ahead and get a little bit. And like I said, so far I'm happy about it, but take that with a grain of salt. Guys, the other token that I do want to talk about real fast is the Texit coin, the TXC token. And the reason I want to mention this is right now it's at about $3.79. And with the white paper that Texit coin has, the price for Texit coin is supposed to be about $5.29 at this point in the near future. And by the end of December, it's supposed to be above $7. So it's been a little bit harder to keep the price up where we were hoping it would be, just because there's been so much downward pressure in the market. The other thing is is that there was some early miners that had accumulated, a couple 100,000 tokens, and they're looking at their wallet when this thing's at $4 or $5, and they're going, man, I've got, 600, 800,000, $1 million here. And yes, I believe that the Texit Coin project is going to go to $16 and above. But man, if you're sitting there looking at your cryptocurrency wallet and you've got $1 million worth of value there, and you're thinking that if you hold, it could go up to 3 or 4 million. But on the flip side, if for some reason anything were to happen that was bad, you could end up going from $1 million in net worth to, significantly less. I don't blame people for taking some profit. So there was definitely a decent amount of profit takers over the last 30 days or so. My point is, in my humble opinion, and once again, this is not financial advice, I very much believe that we're going to see this 379 jump back up over $5 in the near future. The last time we had this conversation on the stream about a month and a half ago, I was talking about this token at around $4. I told you guys that I thought we were going to see it jump in the next week, and sure enough, it jumped from $4 to $5.30. Now, once again, take this with a grain of salt, but for those of you that don't own miners, this could be a good opportunity to buy a few TXC tokens and, pick up a 20, 25, 30, 35, 40% gain. If you hold them until the end of December, beginning of January, when it's supposed to be a little bit over a $7 token, you would get closer to 100% gain potentially. So those are a couple of plays. Once again, do your own research, do your own due diligence, make your own decision. But both of these tokens, I think, are reasonably worth a little bit of a flyer. And, one of the things that I love about having the miners is that the tokens just drip into my wallet every single day, no matter what the price. And I don't really worry too much about the short-term price. What I'm excited about with Texit Coin in the long term is the $16 to $20 price range, and then the $80 token. And then just not long ago, Bobby Gray, the founder of Texit Coin, was talking about a $1,000 token around the beginning of 2027. And at $1,000 token, this thing becomes very, very, very exciting for people that have miners. At $1,000 token, you would be earning about $100 a day in Texit Coin. So do with that what you will. I've got at this point about 38 miners, should be 40 real quick. So just round it up. Let's say that I have 40 miners. If this thing is $1,000 token, then I'm making $100 a day times 40. So I can't even do the math on that. What is that? $4,000 a day? $4,000 a day. 4,000 times 30 is $120,000 a month. $120,000 a month times 12 months is a $1.44 million a year. And I know that a lot of you would say that's crazy. That's never going to happen. That's impossible. But guess what? When Bitcoin was, in 2009, in 2010, 2011, 2012, nobody thought Bitcoin was going to $100,000 either. So Texit Coin has about 20 times the max supply as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to be 21 million tokens when it's fully mined 100 and whatever years from now. Texit Coin is going to be 353 million. So if you take 353 million divided by 21 million, then you end up at around 15, 16, 17x, I believe. But let's just say that Texit Coin is 20 times the tokens as Bitcoin. So that would mean that Bitcoin at $100,000 would make Texit Coin, say, a $5,000 token. Texit Coin at $1,000 would only put Bitcoin at around 20 grand. So my thesis is, if Bobby Gray can pull off what he's trying to pull off, And I believe that there's a good likelihood that he could, a good enough likelihood that I'm willing to risk. I mean, this is all risk and reward, right? When you throw your money at XRP at $2 or $3, it's because you believe XRP can get up to $20, $50, $100 to $300, right? None of us know. We may or may not ever see a $300 XRP. We may or may not ever see a $1,000 Texit coin. But at this point, I mean, I care, but I've also been smart and positioned myself to where if I woke up tomorrow morning and Texit coin no longer existed, like there was a nuclear bomb dropped on top of all of the mines and the company was just gone and the token was worth zero tomorrow, I would still I'd be all right because I've recouped my initial investment and everything from this point forward is just gravy. So that's another important part of investing, folks, whether you're investing in XRP or Bitcoin or Ethereum or Fartcoin or Texit coin. One of the things that you need to get good at doing is lowering your exposure to loss by taking profits and getting your initial investment back in your pocket as fast as possible. And that's one of the reasons that Texit coin appealed to me, was because I saw the ability to recoup my initial investment very, very quickly. So let's get on to some trading. I'm going to click over here to the BY DeFi tab, make sure that I share this tab instead. We're going to get over here, make sure that I'm on the right tab. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm small because I think I look like such a dork with these glasses on. But man, especially on this smaller laptop screen, if I don't have these glasses on, I can't read almost anything. Before we actually go over these charts, let's show you something else that I thought was kind of interesting this morning. Go over here to my YouTube tab. So I was watching some crypto lifer, Sammy Price, and oops, is my screen? Can you guys still see my screen? Can you see the stream will be ending soon? My browser's telling me has lost connection. Try sharing your screen again, but it looks like I'm seeing my screen. Are you guys, am I fluid? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you see my screen share? If so, please let me know in the chat. I guess, okay, you can see me. Can you see the stream will be ending soon, Dave? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. Let me pop over here. And I want to go over to my, I can't tell if you can see this or not, but I just pulled up my notifications for YouTube. And I want to tell you guys why I continue to remain very, very bullish in the not too distant future. For one thing, I think it's kind of interesting that we keep getting these dumps down to 85, 87, 88, but they keep popping back up into the 90s. I'm starting to believe if they wanted to take this down into the 70s, in my opinion, they would have done it by now. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't make any guarantees, but I really feel like this mid 80 range is kind of the bottom. It just doesn't seem like they can get it down into the 70s. Now, they could surprise me, but I want to show you some of the headlines today, and I don't think you can actually see this, but when I went to my notifications, which means all of the videos that have been uploaded in the last day or two, and I'm subscribed to these channels and I'm getting notifications. One of the very first notifications that I got by the Crypto Factor titled, "This is not a crypto bear market." And then I scroll down a little bit further here, and I get to Altcoin Daily uploaded Fireworks start now. Got Data Dash uploaded. Urgent. Bitcoin setting up for a Santa rally, question mark. Data Dash is a guy I've been listening to all the way since back in 2017. I keep scrolling down here a little bit further. We've got Discover Crypto, 96% chance Bitcoin pumps in 2026. Sin City Crypto just hit the Federal Reserves. I was watching this live stream ending picture. This live stream ending picture was Crypto Lifer, Sammy Price, Crypto Lifer, and so on and so forth. My point is, most of the people that I have a lot of respect for simply do not believe that we are going into a bear market, that we are going into max pain, because there's a huge difference between some chop and some volatility and a full-on bear market. If we were headed into a bear market, I think we would be in for some real trouble, because we are already experiencing prices on some of these tokens that is extremely bearish. When you've got Polkadot down at $2, that's the lowest that it's been throughout the whole bear market. I mean, if you go back and look at Polkadot in 22, 23, 24, it hadn't gone down below $3. It was down at like maybe 276 for a week, and then it jumped back up over $3. In fact, if you go watch some of these Trader Tuesday live streams, one of the reasons I felt like that was one of my favorite tokens to trade was because I hadn't seen it lower than 276 for years, and now here it already is, at $2 right now, roughly. So in my opinion, guys, once again, this is just my opinion. You have to take your own responsibility for your own moves. But I believe that we are in a position where we should be somewhat bullish. I just don't like, how low can Polkadot go? And if it did, how sad would you be? Like, if somehow all of a sudden Bitcoin got smashed down to 50, 60, 70,000 and all coins went down another 25, 50, 75%, how sad would you be? Guys, I don't know about you. I wouldn't be all that sad. I would think to myself, oh my goodness, like, this is an opportunity. If it goes any lower, we'd be able to buy some of these tokens back at like 2017 prices, which is one of the reasons I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that the powers in charge here, the elite, are going to let crypto get like just totally crushed off to oblivion. But I'm going to tell you, if all of a sudden I woke up and I seen Polkadot at 50 cents, 75 cents, $1.25, I'd be buying the heck out of it, along with Cardano and XRP and Chainlink and Avalanche. It would somewhat feel a little bit like Christmas if that actually happened. And so, part of what I wanted to, talk to you guys about today is that it's important for you to be open to both scenarios and put yourself in a position to where you don't want to go jump off a building or something if for some reason we were to just get crushed off. If Bitcoin were to drop down to 50, 60,000 and all coins got slaughtered by another 50, 60, 75%, I want to know that you guys are okay. So you got to position yourself so that you can handle those kinds of swings. And one of the ways that you do that, guys, I know this is Trader Tuesday, and we're going to go look at some of my trades here in just a second. But one of the ways that I keep myself from wanting to jump off, a rooftop is by doing some spot buying. In my opinion, now is a really good time to consider increasing your bags. buying some of the tokens that maybe you've had your eyes on now for a few months. Like I was looking at Aerodrome. Aerodrome was knocked all the way down into around the 60, 70 cent range. And I bought, a few $100 worth of Aerodrome just a few days ago too. It might continue to go lower. I know it could go all the way down to 25, 30 cents if we get smashed off, but I wanted some exposure. I didn't have any Aerodrome. And it's a token that I love and that I've been talking about and looking at for a long time. So I went ahead and bought a little bit of Aerodrome. Now, if I was leverage trading Aerodrome and it went all the way down to a quarter or 30 cents and I got liquidated and I lost a bunch of money, that could potentially be frustrating. I'm never going to go jump off of a building no matter how bad crypto got, but some people that are over leveraged and they have way too much of their net worth into tokens like that, I can see how demoralizing it would be if you just lost tens of thousands of dollars because you were over leveraged and the market just continued to plummet. But guys, I bought a few $100 worth of Aerodrome. If it drops down to half the price, it's not that big of a deal. I just buy a few $100 more and dollar cost average into it lower. So having said that, the safest play right now, in my opinion, is to be dollar cost averaging into tokens. The next safest play is what we're going to go into. So for those of you that are traders, let's talk about a little bit of trading. So go over here to BYDefi, share this tab instead. And I'm going to pop back over here, make sure, see it's not showing. Why is it not showing? Oh, I got to go over here. There we go. See, I'm glad I checked it out. I could have been talking for 15 minutes and nobody would have been able to see what I was talking about. Let me get rid of this media asset. Pop this up for just a quick second, guys. If any of you are watching the channel and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and smash that like button and give us a subscribe to the channel. We're live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and would love to have you come and be a part of this on a regular basis. With that, I'll get rid of that. And so now we can go over here to the BYDefi and we can go take a peek at the trade. So we've got a trade in on Link, a trade in on Atom, and a trade in on Avalanche. We can see here, guys, that the trade on Link is in the green, not much. We've got about $104 invested in this trade, and it's up $9. But that's at 3x leverage. Had we done higher leverage, we would be at a little bit higher profit, but we may have gotten liquidated. I'm not 100% sure if we would have or not. We got into this trade at just under 13, so we would have had $1.30. So if this thing would have dropped down to under 1160, 1170, we would have been liquidated. I don't know how low Link went over the last few days, but when Bitcoin was down at 87 a few days ago, all of these tokens were a lot further underwater. Same thing, our Avalanche trade is actually slightly underwater, 6%, not a big deal, but both of those trades we had 3x leverage in. If you remember from last week, we had the Atom trade here with 5x leverage. We also had a VeChain trade with 5x leverage. You notice that VeChain trade is no longer there. That's because it got liquidated. It was only a $35 trade, so I didn't try too hard to back it up. Although if I would have noticed it getting that close to liquidation, it would have been a great time to throw in a ladder, save that $35 trade, and throw in like another $100 where so that it didn't get liquidated. But that trade probably got liquidated somewhere down. Well, not even here. We have to go further back, but way back in here when it was 87, 88,000 is probably when that trade got liquidated. So same as last week. I believe if you want to get into some trades, I would be longing the market personally. But if you are of the conviction that we are definitely, in a bear market and we are going to go down and see, $70,000, $80,000 Bitcoin, then put some shorts in. more power to you. And I think either way, I think this 3x leverage is a pretty sweet spot to be in right now, because 33% gives you a heck of a liquidation. You can see here my entry price on Link was $12.97. My liquidation price is all the way down at $8.73. The AVAX trade, I got into AVAX at $13.95. My liquidation price on it is $7.68. My Atom trade, even though it's a 5X trade, I got in it at $2.54. My liquidation is all the way down at $2.05. Now this Atom trade went all the way down to around $2.20, I think it was. Now it's popped back up to about $2.40. But those are all tokens that I still think would be, if you've got funds lying around, all three of these tokens, I believe, are good tokens to go throw in, trades on. Now, if you're looking to short the market, I don't think I would short these guys, because in my opinion, they've already gotten the heck beaten out of them. So if I was going to short the market, I'd probably just be kind of shorting Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum a little bit. And if you can, let's scroll back over here. Let's go to this screen here, share this tab instead, and then make sure that we're sharing it. And then let's go over here and click on the main page. So if you were going to short stuff, you would want to short stuff that hadn't just gotten slaughtered. And in my opinion, man, most of the altcoins have gotten slaughtered. I can't see a whole lot of altcoins. Like we're talking about, Solana here, $140. This thing was $250, $300 not that long ago. It's already gotten the heck knocked out of it. Now, we did see Solana down, at 120, 125 bucks. So if you were going to short something, and if Bitcoin were to drop all the way down to 75, 80,000, we could probably see $75 Solana. So there's a little room to move. I think a lot of these tokens obviously will go down some, but even like Cardano, Cardano during the peak was way up at $1.60. I want to say, just in the last, I guess we can take a real fast peek at it, but if we go back to a year ago, I think it was up even higher at earlier in December, but here on, December 5th, it was $1.17. So from $1.17 down to 40 cents, 43 cents means that's a 60%, 65% retracement on Cardano. And so that's why if I was going to short the market, personally, I think I would probably stick with, Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum if I was really planning on shorting the market. Why try to pick out what alts are going to get slaughtered when you can just, put your shorts in on Bitcoin? So pop back over here to the chat and say good morning. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Or wait, not Dave, Tim. Good afternoon, Tim. It's almost afternoon where I am. Well, no, that's not true. Where I am, it's 10 o'clock in the morning when we started. So it's only, 10:30 now in the morning. So I guess I got a little ways to go before it's going to be afternoon here. But I don't know what else to say, guys. I'm open to being around here for a little bit longer. But when it comes to trading, I've been very transparent. I'm still learning. And this is a very tough situation to actually give any kind of, real guidance. Obviously we can't give financial advice, no matter how sure we were about something. But when it really comes to giving guidance in this market, man, nobody knows. If somebody really knew, they could just, you could just make millions very, very quickly if you just absolutely knew. If you had, the crystal ball, and if you knew that we were going to go from this 91,000 back up to, 100, 115, 120,000, you could just absolutely set yourself up to make millions. And if you, on the other side, absolutely knew that we were going to go down to 50, 60, 70 grand, you could make millions of dollars. It's like if you knew for sure that, the Philadelphia Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl. You knew it. There's no doubt. Like, you were able to look into the future and you were able to see that, and you knew Philadelphia Eagles were winning the Super Bowl. You'd be a millionaire. It would be so easy to get set up and position yourself to where when that game happened, you were a multi-millionaire after it was over. Unfortunately, nobody on the planet knows for sure. I don't know. Maybe there's a few elite. Maybe there's a group of 10 or 20 elite people. You get 10 or 20 Elon Musks together, and they can manipulate the market and probably know for sure what's going to happen. But I would say that the amount of people on the planet that really know what's going to happen over the next 6 months is pretty close to zero. And if there is a few people that do know, they ain't telling us. So I feel a little weird on this Tuesday Traders, trying to give you guys, a roadmap, trying to give you a blueprint. I feel like you kind of gotta go with your own gut, go with your own heart, and figure it out, for yourself. Dave P just says, no one really knows. I agree. What are you doing, Dave? Are you long in the market, Dave? Are you shorting the market? Are you just holding off from doing anything until we get a little bit more of a clear indication what direction the market's going in? I would love to know. Real quick, I am going to show you guys a little bit more, something on Texitcoin that I thought is kind of interesting. Let me share this tab instead. I know you guys, a lot of you have been jumping into Texitcoin. It's been a little bit taking a little bit more time sometimes for some people to jump into it than others. But something that I wanted to show you guys real quick that are thinking about it, is I wanted to show you what can happen in a relatively short period of time. So I wanted to give myself an opportunity to make some extra commissions and to position myself to kind of help myself. So this area over here was a little bit weaker than I wanted it to be. It wasn't producing as many numbers as I was hoping for. So we can see here, I'm going to expand this out. On October 18th, I bought my wife a miner, so she was right here. And this is why a lot of people are jumping in. Tim G being one of them that jumped in recently. And this is the power of what I'm doing and the power of jumping in with me on Texitcoin. So we're looking at just a month and a half, right? So in the last month and a half, if we take a look at what has happened underneath just my wife's position, this isn't even this has nothing to do with 99% of the rest of my business, but just in my wife's spot, because of course it behooves me to help build underneath my wife. You can see here, I told Tim G a couple of months ago, Tim jumped in on the 18th also. I told Tim, hey, I'm putting my wife in and I'm going to be building hard underneath her. If you want to take advantage of that, I recommend jumping in. And Tim G jumped in. But look at what has happened here in just a month and a half. And guys, I'm getting ready to do this again in another spot. So you can see just on Tim's side, Tim's got Ryan, John F. So John F went out and brought in a handful of people. So there's these people here on underneath on John, and then we just kept going down here on the right-hand side. So all of this has happened in just the last month and a half underneath my wife's spot. And if you've been thinking about jumping in, I have another spot that's going to be similar. Now you can see on the left side of my wife's spot, we got Paul, we got Deana, we got William V. Now William bought a 9-pack. He came in with a 9-pack of miners, so he got 3 profit centers. And then you can see Bill literally jumped in on 11/17, and then 3 days later, he brought in Matthew, he brought in Steve, and he brought in Jose. 3 people within 3 days. And then in order to make his first $1,000 commission, he went to work and he brought in, just in this last week or so, he brought in Geneva, Emma, and Luca. So guys, everything that I just shared with you here, you can see it better here, but that's Deana right here where my hand is, where my mouse is. Everything there has been built underneath my wife in the last month and a half. And so for those of you that haven't jumped into Texitcoin with me, I want to make you guys this promise. If you've been thinking about it and you're anywhere near ready to go, I'm going to continue to build. And if you jump in just like Tim did, you're going to end up with a whole lot of people underneath you, positioning you to be able to make some significant money. Like Tim G is in a position where he can make $3,000 a week with Texitcoin. And I know him and I are working a little bit together to get his other side going and get that money flowing into him. But right now I have another spot, another weak link, if you will, another spot where I want to see more points coming. So the person that jumps in and grabs that spot is going to get a whole lot of people built and growing underneath them in the very near future. So if you are watching this and, been a little bit hesitant to jump into Texitcoin with me, but you're starting to see now, this isn't a fly-by-night operation. Now we're talking about, we've been talking about Texitcoin for 3.5 months now. We're talking about 100 days later. I jumped in on August 22nd, September, October, November, and now it's December 2nd. We're talking about 3.5 months, over 100 days that I have been talking about Texitcoin, and Texitcoin has been continued to do very, very well over the last 3.5 months, even as other tokens have gotten smashed off. Like Texitcoin isn't as high as I would like for it to be yet, but at the same time, compared to its August 22nd price, which was around $2.75, $2.75 to $3.89 is a nice little price increase compared to, once again, if you go look at the price of any token you want to pick out on August 22nd and then look at the price of it today, very, very few tokens on the market, if any, are actually higher today than they were on August 22nd. So anyways, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Once again, keep us in your prayers. Our next doctor's appointment is on Thursday. I'm excited to come back and do another live stream tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So same time, same place. And, with that, I think let's call it a day. We got a good morning. Once again, I apologize for not maybe giving you a definitive go trade this token at this leverage, but I honestly am just, being transparent with you. I had a guy call me up yesterday and he said, "Hey, I've got $5,000 and I want to put it into a token that's going to double or triple." And I said, "Well, what's your time frame?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to be taking out a loan and I need to pay the loan back within like 30 to 60 days. So you know what I told him? I said, "Don't invest in crypto then, because as I've told all of you guys right from the start, you never invest money that you can't afford to lose in any investment. But in crypto, my number one rule is don't invest money that you can't afford to leave in the market long term." I told him there's a very high chance that if you take that $5,000 and you invest it into the market today, no matter how good the token is that I recommend, 30 to 60 days from now, you could be underwater. Your $5,000 could be worth 2,500 or $3,000. And if you have to pull it out and sell it to go pay this loan back and come up with some money out of your pocket, you're not going to be very happy. Said it would be crazy to go throw $5,000 into the market right now if you need that $5,000 in 30 to 60 days. Now, if you tell me you don't need that $5,000 for a couple of years, I've got some good some advice in my opinion. But even with Texitcoin, as bullish as I am on Texitcoin, I would not let this guy throw his $5,000 at Texitcoin if he needs the money back in 30 to 60 days. It would just be totally irresponsible of me to do that. So one of the things that I very much try to do is have high integrity in the things that I do and the things that I say. I could have told this guy, hey, yeah, let's take that $5,000, go buy 5 Texitcoin miners. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. You're going to make so much money, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't do that. I told him, that I wouldn't recommend him doing anything inside of crypto with that $5,000 if he needs the money back in 30 to 60 days. So it's the same thing today. I'm not giving you any concrete advice on how to trade the market because I'm man enough to admit that I don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks, much less the next couple of months. Now, my thesis is we're going to have some really good times. I'm going to go back. You guys aren't going to be able to see it, but I want to go back to one of my favorite headlines here when I was talking about like the notifications that I've been getting. One of my favorite headlines is this one here. Bitcoin setting up for a Santa rally ? But the other one that really caught my eye was this Discover Crypto. Bitcoin, 96% chance Bitcoin pumps in 2026. And that's what we've been talking about for the last few weeks. I believe that it might not happen this year. We might get a beautiful December. I don't know. But I'm very much of the belief that we're going to have an incredible 2026. Now, once again, nobody knows the timing. Is that going to be the first quarter? I kind of think we're going to have a good first quarter in 2026. I've heard other people say it's going to be later in 2026 before we have the big boom. I was reading somewhere else. I don't remember this gentleman's name, but there was a gentleman that's done some pretty amazing prophecies, if you will, talking about the price of Bitcoin and some of the other tokens. And, he really believes that we're going to be at $150,000 to $200,000 Bitcoin in the first quarter of 2026. He was also saying $7,000 Ethereum. And so that's kind of my belief. I think that between now and the end of March, over this next 4 months, we're in for some really, really good times. But I don't know for sure. And I wouldn't want you to take that to the bank. So when it comes to trading, guys, do what you're going to do, but just be safe. The one piece of advice that I would give you is use lower leverage. Right now, in my opinion, would be a very bad time to shoot out 10x leverage trades, 25x leverage trades. Those are always a little bit riskier, but right now with the volatility in the market, you can throw in a 10 or 25x leverage trade and be liquidated in the next 5 minutes. Where my 3x trades that I'm in the middle of, I've got a lot of wiggle room, so I can manage these trades. And even if we started to get crushed off a little bit, I'm going to have a little bit of time to put in some ladders, do some things that would enable me to keep my positions in play for a long enough period of time to where I would still have these trades in play when hopefully the market comes back up. So on that note, guys, I'm going to let you go. Dave P., I am going to be messaging you very soon with a special promotion, and I hope you're ready to jump into Texitcoin with us, my friend. Anyways, guys, I love you all very much. I appreciate you being here today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.